Welcome to another Science 9 crash course. In this episode, we're going to talk all about your genes. Oh, not those ones. That's better. We're also going to look at heredity and inherited variation. My question for you is, do you have a family member that doesn't quite fit in, just looks a little different than everybody else? Well, we'll explain why. Now, the branch of science that deals with the study of heredity is called genetics. Often referred to as the father of genetics, Gregor Mendel worked with pea plants to look at the inheritance of characteristics. When an organism inherits a trait from a parent, it's going to be classified as one of two types of inherited variation. The first type of variation we call discrete variation. Traits that show discrete variation only have a set of possibilities, such as the ability to roll your tongue or not, or blood type, which really only has 4 different possibilities. The other type of variation that a trait could have is called continuous variation. These are traits or characteristics with a wide range of possibilities, such as the height of a person, weight, and the color of your eyes. So how do these traits get passed on? All inherited characteristics are passed on through our genes or our DNA. All sexually reproducing organisms have a mom and a dad, and they each give half of their DNA to us. What this means is we have 2 copies of every single gene in our body, one from mom and one from dad. So how do we know which one of those genes will show up and give us the trait that we have? This is where dominant and recessive characteristics come in. If a trait is dominant, it will show up when paired with the recessive characteristic, and you won't see the recessive characteristic. A great example of this is the eye color brown. It is dominant to the color blue, and it is the most common eye color in the world. Dominant traits, however, are not always the more popular trait. A rare but dominant trait called polydactyly is where you have more than 5 fingers or toes on your hands and feet. The other type of trait that you can have is called a recessive characteristic. These traits only show up when paired with another recessive characteristic, so what this means is both your mom and dad have to give you the same gene. An example of a recessive characteristic in humans is blue eyes. A great non-human example would be the white fur on a black bear. Characteristics or traits can actually fit into a different category that's not dominant or recessive. It is what we call codominant. Because neither of these traits are dominant or recessive, what you get is a blending effect of the trait. A perfect example of this is the eye color hazel. It is a blending effect of the colors brown and green. As we have discussed, our genes dictate what traits that we have. This is not true in all cases, though sometimes the environment can dictate the traits that we have. This brings us to the nature versus nurture debate. The nature side of this debate is all about our genetics, which dictate which traits that we have. On the other hand, the nurture side is all about the environment and how the environment can give us the traits that we have. So which one is it? Most scientists believe that it is some sort of a combination of the two. For example, blood type is thought to be 100% nature, while scars are thought to be 100% nurture. Other traits like weight are found somewhere in the middle. Your parents have given you genes that will dictate what size you will be, but you can modify this by environmental factors such as the food you eat and how much you exercise. Scientists have found a great way to study the nature versus nurture debate. It is by using identical twins, since their genetic information is the same. All we have to do is find twins that have grown up in identical environments and compare them to twins who were separated at birth and grew up in different environments. Yes, those are twins. Lastly, we're going to talk about how our genetic information can be changed by factors in the environment. Any substance or form of energy that can damage our DNA is called a mutagen. Some common mutagens are X-rays, UV rays that cause sunburns, smoking, drinking alcohol, and many other substances. This damage to our DNA is called a mutation. Most mutations have little or no effect on an organism. However, some mutations can become serious and develop into things like cancer or any other genetic abnormality. Cancer is a condition where cells don't function properly and continue to grow and divide uncontrollably. So what can you do to avoid these mutations? It is important that you live a healthy lifestyle and pay attention to the things that you put on or in your body. Sadly, this brings another crash course to an end. Thank you for listening.